So you're probably wondering why I have a box of dry mac and cheese up here with me. And perhaps this box of dry mac and cheese was the single shift that I had in my understanding of leadership. See, like many of us here in the room, I always made leadership into something much bigger than me. Leadership was about transformational change, it was about changing the world, it was about having huge movements. I would take this identity of leadership and only ever give it to those who were huge in nature and in persona, like our Dr. Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela and Malala and Greta. Would never give this title of leadership to me or one of my friends or one of my peers. That was just weird. See, we'd always make leadership into this thing that one day, maybe someday, we could get to. And it was this box of dry mac and cheese that completely shifted that perspective. See, I was in high school at the age of 17 when we first decided to make this camp. See, we were involved in camps when we were younger. We went to all these overnight camps. But my friend in high school said, Fad, I want to start this camp for children in the lower town community of where we grew up in, for low-income children who never had an opportunity. Now, here's the catch. We had no idea what we were doing. But on that day, it was the fall, and we decided that we were going to try and do this camp. We put together a few friends, and I think we made our first poster on Microsoft Paint. And we were trying to figure out what do we do with these kids at this camp, and we made posters, we made a little schedule, we handed out to all the different families around the neighborhood, and we were trying to promote it. And I remember on the first day of when camp was starting, we were nervous, we didn't know what we were doing, but me and about 15 friends were standing there in front of the school waiting to see if parents might even drop off their kids. And it was kind of awkward, it was kind of funny because we stood there and it was almost, if you look back, we were like a set of Avengers just waiting to receive your children. My friend turned to me and said, Fad, how many kids are coming? And I said, I actually don't know. He said, didn't you do a registration day? I said, a registration what? So I had no idea what we were doing. We didn't have a registration day. And so one of the other guys turned to me and said, Fad, what if no kids show up? And I said, perfect. That way we don't have to deal with anyone. He said, what if 100 kids show up? And I looked to them and I looked to all my buddies that were there and I said, that's why you're here. And on that first day, 20 kids showed up. Their parents brought them in and we played a few games and we got them separated into different groups and they were having fun. We were doing cheer songs and then it was snack time. And during snack time, we always get the kids to take out all their candy. Why? Because candy a lot of times has peanuts. And peanuts makes people die. So we wanted to make sure we would check it. I had 20 kids. I needed to make sure 20 kids stayed alive. No less could return any less. So we had these 20 kids and they start taking out their candy. And this one kid over here, he pulls out a few packs of Dunkaroos. And I'm like, Dunkaroos. See, the other thing we were thinking, like maybe if these kids have some good candy, we could maybe sample some of it and have some of it. And this one kid over here, he pulls out a few packs of fruit roll-ups. And the kids are all excited. This one next kid over here pulls out a jumbo bag of sweet chili heat Doritos. And I'm excited. Me and my counselor are excited. The kids are taking out their candy. I'm like, this is going to be good. And then this next kid, standing right next to me, pulls out a box of dry mac and cheese. And he looks at me with a grin on his face, and he says, I like dry mac and cheese. I'm just trying to hold back my laughter. I'm like, what? You like what? I'm trying to hold it in, I compose myself. I look over at the kid and I say, sorry, what was that? And he looks at me with the biggest smile on his face again and he says, I like dry mac and cheese. And at this point, I'm just ready to laugh. At this point, I'm going to burst out laughing. I can't handle it. I'm holding it in. And one of my co-counselors is watching this happen. And he's standing over here on the side. And he comes running in. He's like, oh my God, is that dry mac and cheese? And the kid's eyes just glow up. And he goes, mm-hmm. And the counselor says, well, can I have some? And the kid says, Mm-hmm. He hands over the box, and the counselor grabs the box, and he opens up the box. He puts his hand in, and he starts chewing it. And I could see it going down his throat. And I'm just standing back here watching this happen thinking, are these fools out of their mind? And then the kid with the Dunkaroos, the kid with the fruit roll-ups, and the kid with the jumbo bag of sweet chili heat Doritos all turn to this one kid and say, trade ya. And the kids start trading. They start opening it up. One of them opens up the little bag of cheese and starts spreading the cheese. And I'm watching this happen, standing here thinking, what alternate universe am I living in? What's going on? And I pull my co-counselor aside. I pull him aside and I say, bro, come here. I pull him aside and I say, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? What was that? And he said something very interesting to me at the time. He said, Fahad, sometimes we have to make split-second decisions that can change the course of someone's life. And I was a bit of a smart aleck. I was more worried about these kids eating these noodles. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, changing the course of life? These kids could have died. Death, life. Now, the kid went on to be one of the coolest kids at camp. They had so much fun, and the camp was a major success. We had so much fun. We had so many games. We played dodgeball. We served them grilled cheese. We coloring contests, all sorts of things. And to this day, I don't remember the kid's name because we called him Mac. He went on to be one of the coolest kids at camp. But at the end of camp, I got an email from his mother. And the email subject line said, "What have you done with my child?" ? And I remember reading that subject line and thinking, oh my God, he was never supposed to eat that. And then I read the next line. She says, "I believe you've abducted my child and given me another one." And I'm thinking, like, what do you say to that? How do you reply? Like, no, I didn't. I know you are, but what am I? And then I read the next line. She says, "My child has been to special schools and special programs. He's been seeing psychologists and psychotherapists. He's been on several different types of medication. For a long time, we never knew what was wrong with him. Recently, we've come to understand that he has severe social anxiety, and he's never been able to make friends on his own. But today, he's in the park by himself, making friends." And in that moment, I think I understood that split-second decision. In that moment, I understood the power of eating your dry mac and cheese. See, this little box of mac and cheese, in that moment, when Mac pulled it out, had I laughed, I think that story would have been completely different. See, he was one of the coolest kids at camp, but probably would have been the laughing stock of the entire camp. And I think in that moment, I learned true leadership. In that moment, I learned that leadership is not a noun, it's not an identity. It was a verb. It was an action. True leadership is about making another person feel like they belong. And I challenge us to create these moments of belonging, moments of dry mac and cheese, where we can just step up in our everyday lives and make a difference. Thank you.